The movie begins with a young girl named Meg Murry, who once shared a warm, magical bond with her father, Mr. Murry. He was a brilliant scientist who believed the universe could be bent, folded, and crossed with nothing but the mind itself. To Meg, he wasn't just a genius, he was her hero. But everything changed the day he disappeared without a trace, leaving behind only questions, pain, and the memory of his promise that his love would never vanish. Years later, Meg carries that wound like a quiet storm. Once a bright and curious student, she now moves through school like a shadow. Her younger brother, Charles Wallace, strange, gifted, and unbelievably intelligent, remains her closest companion. Late one night, the two share a quiet moment over warm milk, when a radio suddenly announces the 4th anniversary of their father's disappearance. The reminder hits Meg like a punch. Charles senses her pain but says nothing. He simply stays by her side. School is no sanctuary for Meg. Veronica, the resident bully, taunts her mercilessly about her missing father, while teachers whisper cruel theories that Mr. Murry must have run off with another woman. Even Principal Jenkins scolds Meg for her slipping grades and tells her to accept that her dad might never come back. Heartbroken and overwhelmed, Meg lashes out, throwing a ball at Veronica's face, and ends up in trouble again. At home, Meg's mother gently asks her to write apology letters, but Meg insists she only defended her brother and that her father would have supported her. The argument stops suddenly when they hear Charles Wallace talking to someone in the living room. A bizarre, eccentric woman, calling herself Mrs. Watson, stands in the middle of their home as though she walked in from another world. She speaks cryptically about extraordinary discoveries, hinting that the Murrays had stumbled onto something real, something cosmic. The next day, Charles Wallace insists on taking Meg to meet another strange woman, Mrs. Who speaks only in quotes from great thinkers. Along the way, they're joined by Calvin, a kind and unexpectedly confident boy from Meg's school, who confesses he just felt the urge to come find them. Meg doesn't understand what's happening, but Charles assures her these visitors are important. That evening, Mrs. Watson returns, joined by Mrs. Who. Suddenly, the sky shimmers, and a towering, majestic being named Mrs. Witch materializes before them. She explains that she and the others are cosmic warriors of light, drawn by a desperate call sent across the universe. Meg realizes instantly it was her father. He is alive, but trapped somewhere far beyond ordinary space. The 3 celestial guides tell Meg that her father did something no other human had ever done. He tessered through the universe using nothing but his mind, but he encountered a terrible darkness. If Meg is willing to journey beyond Earth to rescue him, they'll take her. Terrified yet determined, Meg agrees. In a burst of energy, the world folds, bends, and disappears, and the children are thrown into the unknown. They land on the breathtaking planet Uriel, alive with shimmering grass and luminous air. Mrs. Watson transforms into a radiant flying creature and carries the children through the skies, where they encounter living flowers that respond to Meg's photo of her dad. But the beauty shatters when they spot a dark, pulsing planet on the horizon. Kamazats, home of a monstrous evil force known only as the IT. The IT is a spreading darkness, poisoning minds across the universe. The mere sight of it shakes Meg to her core. Calvin slips from the sky during the flight, but Mrs. Who summons the windborne flowers to save him. With danger closing in, the 3 guides decide they must seek help from a powerful seer called the Happy Medium. On the planet Orion, surrounded by floating rocks and swirling sand, Meg struggles to hold her balance as the Happy Medium instructs them to center themselves, but Meg's fear keeps throwing her off. Mrs. Witch gently touches her hand and reveals horrifying visions of the IT's influence. Anger, violence, hatred, despair spreading across Earth. Meg realizes that her father was fighting this darkness, and so is she. Finally, the Happy Medium reveals the truth. Mr. Murry is alive but trapped deep within Kamazats. The guides panic, for their powers weaken in the IT's domain. Mrs. Witch insists they must return the children home and devise another plan. But Meg refuses. She will not abandon her father again, even if it means facing the darkness alone. Because of Meg's unshakable will, the tesser goes wrong, sending all 3 children directly into Kamazats. The planet shifts under their feet, morphing, twisting, and rearranging itself like a living illusion. The guides appear briefly, drained, fading, giving Meg 3 gifts: glasses to reveal what is hidden, her own faults as a strength, and the command to stay together. Then, weakened by the darkness, the guides vanish. Almost instantly, Charles Wallace disappears. Meg and Calvin fight through a violent storm, racing toward a massive wall. Using her understanding of physics, Meg realizes that objects sucked into the tornado are eventually expelled, and she uses that force to propel herself and Calvin over the barrier. When they land, Charles Wallace is waiting, strangely calm. Too calm. They wander through eerie suburban streets where children bounce balls in perfect synchrony. A mother invites them for dinner, but Meg remembers the warning not to trust anyone. Instantly, the houses collapse and fold away like cardboard, transporting the children to a beach where a smooth-talking man named Reid offers them food. But Charles bites into his burger and tastes only sand. Reid praises Charles for passing the test, and in the blink of an eye, Charles's entire expression changes. He is no longer Charles Wallace. The IT has taken control. He speaks with cold confidence, mocks Meg and Calvin, and leads them to a stark white chamber deeper within Kamazats. Calvin tries reasoning with him, but Charles tears him down with painful truths. Imagine watching someone you love suddenly speak like a stranger, controlled by pure evil, If you were in Meg's place at that moment, what would you do? Tell me in the comments, because this is where her courage is truly tested. Guided by Charles, but now acting as the IT's puppet, Meg and Calvin are dragged through shifting corridors until they find a hidden stairway. Meg slips on Mrs. Who's glasses and sees what was invisible. She follows the path into a secret prison-like cell, and there he is, her father weak, wounded, but alive. Their reunion is emotional and overwhelming. 4 years of pain melt into a single embrace. Mr. Murry explains he became trapped while trying to escape the IT, but when they return to Charles, he stands unchanged, still possessed. He coldly accuses their father of abandoning the family. His words cut deep. Before they can act, the IT pulls them all into a dark, spiraling tunnel. Mr. Murry tries to tesser himself and Meg out, but Meg refuses to leave Charles behind. The IT's voice fills the air, whispering to Meg, tempting her, praising her resilience, trying to claim her. She awakens in a vast void where Charles, fully under the IT's control, guides her toward the heart of the darkness. A glowing form, a twisted version of Meg, steps forward. This new, perfect Meg is confident, beautiful, admired, everything Meg secretly wished she could be. Charles insists that Meg doesn't have to return to Earth as herself. The IT will send this new version instead. For a moment, Meg is shaken, but then she sees the truth. Perfection is a prison, and the IT wants to erase everything that makes her human. She rejects the offer and pushes the false Meg away. Enraged, Charles attacks her with cruel words, claiming no one likes her. Not her classmates, not even her father. The darkness tightens around Meg's heart, but suddenly she remembers Mrs. Whatsit's gift. Her faults, her stubbornness, her temper, her insecurities. They are part of her strength. They are why she fights. Standing tall, Meg tells Charles, through tears and trembling voice, that she loves him exactly as he is, even now, even here. Even while he's trapped in darkness. The IT mocks the idea of love, calling it meaningless. But love is exactly what breaks the spell. Charles Wallace begins to return, slowly, painfully, until he collapses into Meg's arms, finally himself again. The IT lashes out with fury, trying to crush them both. But just as all hope seems lost, a brilliant light bursts open, and the 3 celestial guides reappear. They tell Meg she has done something extraordinary. She has weakened the IT and restored hope to Earth. Now she must do the impossible. Tesser them all home. Only she can. Terrified yet determined, Meg centers herself, remembering the light of her father, the love of her family, and the courage she never knew she had. She opens the tesser, pulling Charles and Calvin with her, ripping through the fabric of space until, at last, they break through. The children land back home, where their mother runs out in shock and joy. Mr. Murry appears moments later, reunited with his wife after years of separation. Calvin thanks Meg for trusting him and heads home to make peace with his own father. Charles hugs Meg proudly, and she finally feels whole again. As she looks up at the sky, she whispers a thank you to the 3 warriors of light who helped to bring her family back together. And if you enjoyed this epic journey across worlds and darkness, make sure you like the video, subscribe to Great Animation Recaps, and tell me which movie you want next, because more incredible stories are on the way.